What's going on, guys? It is Bearson here, back again with another video. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit shorter. It's just a simple movie ranking on the How to Train Your Dragon series. So it's just 3 movies, but I'm kind of trying to keep my daily upload schedule because I've only missed 1 upload in the month of April. And I have to pretty much put out a quick video, that way I can just edit it really quick, because these next 2 days are my final days of college classes, and I have exams and all this other stuff, so I was trying to figure out a time to where I can make a video. So this video should be short, quick, and simple, but I watched these movies last week and this week, and I really wanted to put this video out before I did my weekly movie ranking, which should come out tomorrow. That way it doesn't give too much away when I rank that. So let's get right into ranking the How to Train Your Dragon series. Now, coming in our third or last place spot, I have How to Train Your Dragon 2. Now, this one kind of suffers from almost middle child syndrome, because this movie is still very good and it is very appealing. However, from the first, 30 seconds of the movie, I kind of realized this movie was not going to be as good as the first, because just the theme it was trying to introduce, I don't think worked as well as the movie's first theme. But I still really enjoy this movie, and I would definitely recommend anybody to watch it, because this movie, while it is the middle of the series, I feel like this movie might be the most epic out of all of them. You have the alpha dragons that are just these huge dragons that have the ability to almost mind control all of the other dragons, and I think that is a very interesting dynamic that this movie plays. However, I still have a few problems with it. My primary problem with this movie is when it introduces Hiccup's mother. I do not like Hiccup's mother in this movie. She honestly seems like this just crazy cat lady that really just allowed it to influence her life, because she ditches her real family and just kind of pieces out to go take care of dragons, and she seems just like this crazy person, and the animation I think kind of plays to this because her eyes just seem all buggy. But this movie does have one of the most touching scenes, I think, when Hiccup's dad reunites with his mother. I think it shows that, you know what, he still loved her through all this time, and it has one of the most emotional scenes probably throughout the entire series when he passes away, being killed by one of the dragons. I'm not going to give too much away. Also, another problem I kind of have with this movie is the villain. I think he plays a great foil to Hiccup, where he almost just wants to rule the dragons, and he is this menacing character, but he doesn't have that much character development. But this movie is still a great movie, and I do recommend you watch it if you have not yet seen it. Coming in at our second place spot, though, I have How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, or How to Train Your Dragon 3. Now, honestly, for the majority of this movie, I honestly thought I was going to rank the second one higher. Again, this movie is absolutely amazing. The entire series is very, very good. But the problems that I have with this movie is I feel like this almost kind of plays its role as a kid movie the most, because this movie doesn't have this giant theme that Hiccup is trying to overcome. It almost just kind of shares the theme as the last movie, where he's trying to realize how he can become a chieftain and what he needs to do to accept that role. However, a lot of the beginning parts of this movie in the first and second act take, I think, in my personal opinion, too much time focusing on Toothless and his relationship with the Bright Fury, and they almost have these repeated sections of the movie where it's just showing their relationship as dragons, but there's no dialogue. And yes, this is cute, this is funny, but when it takes up huge sections of the first 2 acts, I think it can kind of harm your movie, because your story isn't progressing. But once we get into that third act, I think this third act might be my favorite act in all of these movies, because the ending to this movie just pays off the trilogy so well. The ending of this movie kind of made me realize, hey, this might be one of my personal favorite animated movie trilogies. It's up there with Toy Story. It was that good. If you haven't seen this movie, it came out last year, I think it was, or late 2018. This movie is phenomenal. I do like the villain in this movie definitely a lot more than the villain in How to Train Your Dragon 2. I think he has a lot more character, and while he's not as menacing maybe as the villain in the second movie, he has a lot more personality, and he is very enjoying to watch. But this movie just misses out at our number 1 spot. But of course, coming in our number one spot. It is the movie that kicked it all off with How to Train Your Dragon. Again, I remember watching this movie as a kid and not really being a huge fan of it. But again, I think that's because my child mind really wasn't looking at the themes of this movie and the themes that are very well written in this movie, and just how Hiccup has to overcome almost the culture that he has been born into, and one that he doesn't necessarily agree with. His thought process of, hey, I have to kill dragons to fit in and to become this noble Viking and seem noble and worthy in the eyes of my father, even though that is not the person he is in. Again, I said this last week in my weekly movie ranking because I watched this movie last week, that the part where he puts his hand on Toothless's nose and they kind of just bond in that moment is the best scene in this movie, and I think might be the best scene in all of these movies because it's just touching, and it shows that despite of where you come from, you can change a culture and a society for the better if you stick to your beliefs. And I think Hiccup really personifies that as a character because he doesn't fit in. He's just a skinny, scrawny kid in a world of Vikings that honestly tell you everything that you shouldn't be is skinny and scrawny. You need to be big, noble, and being able to fight your way through your problems. But Hiccup thinks his way through his problems, and he changes his society for the better because of that. And I absolutely love this movie. I think this movie really does an amazing job of just kicking off this amazing trilogy as a whole. Alright y'all, so that's going to be it for this one, folks. Again, if you have seen this series, feel free to leave your ranking down below. If you have not seen this series, though, I give a huge recommendation for it. I honestly, again, think this could be one of my favorite animation trilogies. This trilogy was absolutely amazing, and I really enjoyed watching it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back again with my weekly movie ranking tomorrow. Peace.